really hard to switch from Stephen to Francis.
Yeah.
And I remember asking him very directly, is it really important that I do this? And he stared me down and he said, absolutely. So I worked on it. And even though there are moments where I still have the inclination, the impulse to call him Stephen, he has become entirely Francis to me. And as much as I love Stephen, and the reason I had the difficulty in letting Stephen go is because this was my great teacher, this was my great mentor, this was the person who opened up so much for me, as I know he opened up so much for so many of us sitting here today. And it was tough to let that go. But I'm here to report actually that I love Francis all the more. And that connection with Francis has gone much deeper, so I will call him Francis. And you're fine with people calling me Stephen.
Absolutely, but I'll tell you the story of the change when I speak.
So this has continued to be this beautiful friendship, and deepened and deepened and deepened. And the idea for this gathering happened on my couch in Pasadena in December of 2016. Francis had come down to for my son's graduation with his master's degree from Art Center College of Design, where I work. And he joined it, and what we do, we work really hard at the college, is to celebrate people who are great teachers, who are alumni, who are people who are engaged in all kinds of different ways. And Francis was there, and he witnessed this. And it's important because it gives the community a sense of the history, it gives people a sense of what, you know, the kind of energy that was there, how the college has evolved, how it's changed, all kinds of things. And we were sitting on the couch, and he said, it's amazing to me that the University of Toronto has never reached out to you, that there's never been any kind of connection. Why don't we do something? And knowing him, he could have easily said, oh, no, I don't want to have anything to do with that. But he didn't. He actually responded and said, that sounds like a great idea. So the next thing I did is I got in touch with the amazing Leah Cherniak. And we tried to do something with the university. And the idea initially was, let's bring him here, let's talk about what theater was in those days, what was behind the Playhouse, what was being thought about in terms of what theater education needed to be, how it's evolved, get some of the students who are currently here and the faculty who are currently here to meet him, to meet us, to be able to engage in a certain kind of way, to understand what was happening, what they're doing now, and maybe even to have a conversation of what theater education needs to be today, or where we think it's going. And we worked at that for several months, and it just went nowhere, really. I mean, there was some interest on the part of the drone program, but it really was not. It just didn't have any legs, and it was really difficult to move forward. And the ideas we had and the thoughts we had about what we wanted to make it, what we wanted it to be, just sort of kind of fell apart. So I texted Francis and I said, I don't think this is going to work. I don't think the university is into it. And his response in his text was, oh, thank God, I couldn't stand that ossified place anyway. So that was that. And then I said to him, why don't we just do it ourselves? Why don't we just bring a community of people together who are here and rent the Playhouse or some other space if we can't get the Playhouse and have a gathering. Perfect. And so that's what we, that was the origins of this, and now, over 2 years later, here we are, a lot of hard work on the part of a lot of people,
Really.
Leah and Gordon and Kate, who just pulled this all together, and so many others who Okay, Professor, you're on.
All right. Well, the difficulty I'm going to have is not bursting into tears. And if I can keep myself emotionally grounded, I might get some words out. But it is absolutely amazing to me. 40 years later, to be in this building with this many people who obviously, because they wouldn't be here otherwise, I had some kind of influence on.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Woo.
But to be in this building, just to go, to be back in this building, now a lot of it has changed, but to be in this building, this has not changed. Lighting has changed.
No,
booths,
nothing's changed.
that also, that was a couple of days ago when we were sort of talking about doing it, was an amazing experience for me. And I'm so happy that you got the Playhouse. Because what it does is it literally puts us into a 40-year time warp. I mean, it's just an amazing thing. And I want to, therefore, give you a bit of a, not long, but a history of how this Playhouse came about. Because it really was a series of serendipities that you would never believe. All right, a professor in his new job arrives in 1967, hired to teach American literature, because that's what I did my PhD in. I taught American literature for a year, then it happened that first year, the medieval department were doing plays in the original language. And a very enterprising man by the name of John Liley was in charge of that. And he just, had this sort of vision of this. So a month into arriving here, I was auditioning for that, and then was playing the lead role of Noah in the tiny play of Noah. That was a good start. It was a great body, and we took it to Chicago, and it was marvelous. Great way to come in. But then, okay, second year, 2 people go on leave who teach drama. So I was, for some reason, by the chairman, chosen to teach drama. I never taught American literature again. Now, John Liley, at the same time, the principal of the University College, a wonderful man by the name of Douglas LePan, and he had this place, when I arrived, was totally abandoned. It was like an abandoned space. The fire department had condemned it. It was just absolutely, nobody was using it because they weren't allowed to use it. Douglas LePan got together his alumni, and he got a large amount of money to completely renovate the space. He spoke to John Liley, and John Liley said, Stephen Martineau is your man to be in charge of the renovation. And when I was told this, I thought, I know nothing about renovation. And it was really quite overwhelming at first. And then I realized that I had a very strong vision of what I wanted the theater to be. And I didn't know any of the technical details, and I went around and got people who knew lighting, who knew this, who knew that, the physical, plant department. They were very cooperative. And a year later, this place was transformed into what it is now. And these risers weren't here, they were much more flexible. And so we got, by 1970, we got an amazing space in which you could perform anywhere, in any direction in Auschwitz, and boy did we use that.
Oh, yeah.
So then, switched to me teaching now drama. I did the thing that people didn't like, of deciding that one of the hours of the week must be physical work. And this was a lot of resistance, and I almost did it illegally. Well, that's not quite right, but I did it, just under suspicion, should I put it that way. And that was the beginning of my runway into the drama program. And I'm so glad the people who were part of, I talk about 1970 to 1975, that so many representatives are here of that, Cynthia Grant, for one, Richard Choikert, yes. And it's marvelous to have that, because that was really, I was flying by the seat of my pants. And all I was doing was asking you to fly by the seat of your pants as well. And I was, reading Grotowski, I was reading Peter Brook, and I was going to theater festivals in Poland, these underground theater festivals in Poland and France and all over the place. And I'm thinking, oh my God. And I just brought it back and thought, okay, I can maybe do this and inject this into people. And so then there was also the Modern Drama Group, who we have a representative here, John Askin, who taught at Arundel. And this was a group that we joined very soon when I arrived, 1968, wasn't it, I think, yeah. And we performed first in the Port Alex, we did the Homecoming, and then by 1970 this place was ready, and so we used that as, that was another part of what was going on in that early period there. I directed the first production in the fall of 1970, that was Breast, the Measures Taken. And I wish Wendy Rubin was here, because she couldn't come, she wrote a marvelous letter. She was in that, she's the only one who I contact who was in that cast. And then, slowly, this physical work that I was doing in just 1 hour, you know, was just, I decided we need to do shows with this because people were entering into it so fully. And so then I did a show then at the end of that, you know, with my drama classes as they were called then. And those shows were very much a part, again, as I call my runway into the program, because as I said, I was really learning myself all the time about what to do and how to get this marvelous experimental energy that was breaking out in theatre all the time at that. I mean, you have to understand the serendipity of the timing of this was extraordinary, absolutely extraordinary, because everybody was just in these underground festivals in Poland and France. Wow. I mean, I was just blown away with what was going on. So I was wanting to bring that back and inject it into that. And so all of this just gradually built, you know, in terms of, and the atmosphere of the Playhouse began to develop as this really experimental space where people came, the shows were free, and people came and more audiences came, and we developed an identity that really was in search of that experimental form of how can we do this? How can we do this differently? And we had the theatre where we could put it in any shape, any space we wanted, and it was there. And then we reached to 1975, and then along came the drama program, which was almost a natural, how can I say, it was just a natural development from there. But again, a serendipity of timing, because they were abandoning the honours program, the 4-year honours programs in English and stuff like that, and this whole idea that each college should then choose a subject that was special, and to make that the identity of the college, you see. And of course we had this theatre here, and I went actually to talk to a different principal at the time and said, look, this is what we should do. We've got this theatre here. Why don't we start a drama program? That's why I've got a program on the farm. And so that was begun, and because I'd suggested, I was the one chosen to do that. And so another 7 years went by, and I don't want to go any further because I want you to do that. But I did want to create the foundation of this history, which is really rare. And I would say that it was a combination of the timing of the theatre atmosphere, the fact that this building was there and developing, and just the whole feeling of the students that I think all of you were of a caliber that I will never forget. I mean, I could have had students who didn't go for this. I mean, you know, I could have been that it was like, oh, you don't want this? Oh, all right. But it was never that. It was always that feeling of, let's do more, let's do more, let's go, let's do more, let's do more. And marvelous that I can feel and go back. I have many lives after this that maybe we can talk about later. But let's stay here with this and you and your experience here. And that's all I want to say right now, because I want people to speak and say what these years meant to you. You know, just not necessarily lengthy, just what was the impact on your lives in this particular amazing pocket in time.
Stephen,
You know, was.
since I was one of the few people here who took your American literature course.
How was it?
And then followed you into,
Yeah.
into the world of the theater. I can say that what you've left out of your introduction is your own influence. You were such a dynamic, you are such a dynamic person. I remember you practically dancing around the classroom. You were so full of energy, and it was invigorating. For an intellectual such as I was coming out of high school, you breathe life into ideas, and you just animated what you taught and